time we told you that we'd have a city, so without further ado, ta-da! So basically, what we did from the last build is, first of all, we made some minor changes. The ship is a little faster. You might notice that the front part of the crosshair now actually extends to match the distance of whatever it's targeting, which helps a lot with being able to hit enemies. The UI is more dynamic. The color of your health indicator will change depending on how close you are to death, and the score will basically like tick up more fluidly when you get points. But of course, the biggest change is the city. And so the way that the city works is that at certain intervals, it will spawn in a block. And basically, each city block contains the surface, buildings, and enemies. And what it does is basically it spawns in the buildings in sort of a grid interval, but it actually randomizes whether there's actually a building at each grid point. So you don't get a perfect grid of buildings, you get an almost perfect grid. It looks more organic that way. For the enemy spawning, what it does is it actually avoids spawning enemies inside of buildings by actually checking for each enemy to see if the random spawn point is in one of the building bounds. And if it is, it'll actually move that enemy over to just outside the building. So this means that when I tell the script, like, give me 300 enemies for this block, it's actually going to be 300 enemies that you can interact with, not enemies that are going to be hiding inside of the building. And apart from that, just some balancing stuff. The enemies do more damage. The camera's been tweaked a little bit. But right now, like, basically this is really like hackish code, so it needs to be, oh, and we have a game over screen now. So if you hit restart, now you can start it over. And each time, like I said in the pitch, it's fully randomized, like the buildings, enemies. So once we start adding more enemy types and more power-ups and more creative buildings, it really is going to be a slightly different experience every time. And right now it needs to be optimized though, because we're basing all of this spawning and destroying off of instantiate and destroy. So we do have like smart destruction of objects that are behind you. So whenever a building or an enemy is behind you, it's going to get destroyed to save performance. The problem is it's using instantiate and destroy, which are really inefficient methods. So what we need to do is implement a pooling system to deal with that. And once we do that, it'll actually run fluidly. And also we need to figure out a way to make the spawning in front of you part a little more smooth. But for now, the proof of concept is there. I mean, this, except for the sand at the bottom, which I don't know, we went with that. But otherwise, like, it looks plausible enough as a city. And once we have maybe like, up to 10 different building models, which by the way are spawned at random rotations. So you might notice that the buildings are not only spawning at different flavors, they're actually spawning at different angles as well. And so that makes it look even more random that way. And once we combine that with more building models and a surface that looks more like a city, it'll definitely be more convincing, and hopefully it'll be pretty fun, I think. So, yeah. Yeah?
Are you controlling your movement and aim and using the same?
Yeah, it's just one analog stick. Because we're basing this off Star Fox, and that's how it worked in Star Fox. Yeah?
What happens if you move your ship all the way to the right of the screen?
You're going to go out of bounds. So there's no building clipping. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, so right now there's no protection for that. There's no vertical protection. You can clip through the buildings. These are all features that take extra effort to do. So, I mean, we went from like the last presentation to this in pretty much today. So, but yeah, rest assured, like those features will be in there. Yeah, obviously you don't want to be able to do that in the release.
Well, I guess that's it.